Our scripture reading this morning comes from Acts chapter 25. We're reading the entire chapter from verse 1 down to verse 27. This is part of a fairly long section of the book of Acts where Paul is testifying between various Roman authorities to the gospel. And again, today we consider Paul before Agrippa and Bernice. Again, the reading will come from Acts chapter 25, beginning in verse 1 through the end of the chapter. I remind you as I read that this is not merely the words of Luke, but the inspired, infallible, and inerrant words of the living God. Acts 25, beginning at verse 1. Now, 3 days after Festus had arrived in the province, he went up to Jerusalem from Caesarea. And the chief priests and the principal men of the Jews laid out their case against Paul, and they urged him, asking as a favor against Paul that he summon him to Jerusalem, because they were planning an ambush to kill him on the way. Festus replied that Paul was being kept at Caesarea, and that he himself intended to go there shortly. So said he, "Let the men of authority among you go down with me, and if there is anything wrong about the man, let them bring charges against him." And he stayed among them not more than 8 or 10 days, and he went down to Caesarea. And the next day he took a seat in the tribunal and ordered Paul to be brought. When he had arrived, the Jews who had come down from Jerusalem stood against him, bringing many and serious charges against him that they could not prove. Paul argued in his defense, "Neither against the law of the Jews, nor against the temple, nor against Caesar have I committed any offense." But Festus, wishing to do the Jews a favor, said to Paul, "Do you wish to go up to Jerusalem and there be tried on these charges before me?" But Paul said, "I am standing before Caesar's tribunal."